You can walk up to the Abbey from the back of the Old Town. It's 5 or 6 minutes, not very far, an easy walk, and you can go right up to that arched doorway that Maria left the Abbey through. Or if you go up to the fortress and you walk down, instead of taking the funicular down, you can walk back down and you can walk past the Abbey on your way down as well. On the right now is the courthouses of Salzburg. So you can see the beautiful architecture in the city. There was a lot of money coming into this city, and it came from the natural resources in the area. So inside these mountains we have marble, but also the salt, which is what brought most of the money to this region. Salt mining, salt was the same value as gold. It was actually called white gold. So important for the preservation of food and a very important trading commodity, which they transported down the rivers as well. So you can do tours of the salt mines here. There's a couple of them in the area, and it's really super interesting to go right inside the mountain and see the process of how they mine salt. That's something here, but they also had nickel, bronze, silver and gold in this area. The population of Salzburg is around 150,000 people. 1 million tourists a year come to this city, and a third of them are here because of the Sound of Music. Yep, it's pretty amazing, because next year is the 60th anniversary of this movie. It was released in 1965, so for 60 years it has been bringing the bulk of tourism to Salzburg. Now, as I said before, not only the emotional connection to the movie, but they really showcased the area beautifully. When we head out to the Lakes District, you'll see how beautiful it is, and they did a lot of helicopter shots out there that they used to set the scene in the overture at the beginning. So there'll be some of the sites we will see that they used with helicopter shots, and this is another attraction to the area to showcase its beauty. Salzburg was founded in 696 by an archbishop who came along and discovered the ruins from the Roman Empire, and he built the first Catholic monastery and then church, which is in the Old Town, the St. Peter's. It's also where the cemetery is that they modelled the set after for when they were hiding behind the tombstone. So you can go into that cemetery and you'll see it looks very much the same as the one in the movie. So that's pretty special too. It's just, you'll find that if you head up towards the vernacular rail entrance, it's just on the right hand side. There's some wrought iron gates and you can go into that cemetery and have a wander through the St. Peter's. Now, the Salzburg actually remained an independent state, so it was its own country as such for a very long time and didn't join Austria until 1816. That's when it became part of the country. And from 696 until 1816, Salzburg was independent. The fortress up on the hill, which we will see when we go around the corner now, it was built in 1077. At a time where there was some conflict between church and state, and they did a very good job because it is considered inconquerable. It was never damaged in any major battle or war, and has been known now as the most well-preserved fortress in all of Middle Europe. So it is a bit special to try and get up there and have a look. There's some beautiful museums that you can go inside the castle and wander through and see what life was like back in the day, with a lot of information there. There's also the Marionette Museum up there, which is where they have the Von Trapp family made out of marionette puppets. So they obviously have two sets, because I'm pretty sure they don't take them out of the museum when they do the show in the Marionette Theatre. So you can go and see them up there too. We'll be coming back down this road on our way back from this next first stop, so you will see it on the left-hand side coming back, but on your right now, you can see the Nonnberg Abbey down below, and then up to the fortress on your right. I think that fortress is pretty much on every postcard of Salzburg. And so it should be, it's very beautiful. So they came to film it in 1964. The musical that the movie is based on had debuted on Broadway in 1959. And they decided they wouldn't let the movie come out until after the musical ran its first run on Broadway, so as not to impact ticket sales of the musical. And then the movie started being made then. Before the musical, there were a couple of documentaries made about the Von Trapps as well, here in Germany in German. And before that, Maria wrote the book in 1949, 2 years after the captain passed away. So that was based all on her story that she'd written. When they came here, they'd already been rehearsing for 3 months in Hollywood, and they'd laid down the entire soundtrack. They had then a plan to come to Salzburg to film all of these outside locations they needed, about 24 locations outside, and they thought they would be able to do that in 6 weeks. Not taking into account that Salzburg has the 7th highest rainfall in the world due to the topography of the mountains, and they did come in the rainy time of the year at the beginning of the year, and this meant they had a lot of rain, and they ended up being here for 11 weeks. So this put a lot of pressure on 20th Century Fox because they had just blown their budget pretty big time making the movie Cleopatra. Oh, so cute how they say it in German, I have to tell you, it's Cleopatra. I always love that one. So Cleopatra had Richard Taylor and Elizabeth Burton, and it had also run over time and over budget. So the director, Robert Wise, brought 250 cast and crew here from America, and obviously when it went longer than anticipated, the pressure was on him to come bring everybody back and finish it on a green screen. He said, all right, I'll send everyone back, but not Julie. So he didn't send her back, and he kept Julie and a few of the cameramen. And he said, there's one more shot that must be done here on location. Luckily, he stuck his feet in because that was the opening scene. The one where she spins around and sings "The Hills Are Alive" with the sound of music up on the mountain. So the day they filmed that, 9 hours they waited on the mountain. They had a 20-minute good weather window, which they were expecting. They had taken Julie up on an ox cart because this was on private property on a farmer's property in Bavaria. So over the border of from Austria. This is where they filmed it. So yeah, we don't drive the bus up there and unload a few hundred people a day onto the farmer's grass and trample it down. He's making hay for his cows 60 years later there. But they jumped into action when this weather came good. They had the soundtrack playing on giant speakers in the trees that were hidden so you wouldn't see them from the helicopter shots. And Julie came up one side and the helicopter came from the other. And while they did the shot, she did her spin, the helicopter got what it needed, turned around and went back, and the downdraft flattened her onto the ground, so she went splat. And then she got up, dusted herself off while they, and said, can we please get them to go around a bit more? And they said, yes, we are doing it more again, Julie. And they did exactly the same thing to her, so she went splat the second time. So she had quite a day, really, for Julie after 9 hours of waiting for this window and then getting knocked to the ground. But they got the shot they needed and they flew out the next day. That was the end of the shoot here.